Good morning, dear young minds. Welcome back to biology session. How are you all? Are you fine? Right. In previous session, we have discussed various types of plant growth regulators such as auxins, gibberellins, and cytokinins. Their physiological role, their importance. That whole topic is completed. Today, concept topic continuation: abscisic acid. Another important phytohormone, abscisic acid, shortly called ABA, otherwise called stress hormone. Stress hormone, right? The total 5 phytohormones can be classified into two categories: plant growth regulators and plant growth inhibitors. Plant growth regulators example auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins, right? Whereas plant growth inhibitors example abscisic acid and ethylene. During mid 90s, 1960s, several world biologists performed experiments on abscisic acid and they found three important chemical compounds, namely inhibitor, inhibitor B, abscission, abscission 2, and dormin, dormin. Scientists, after completion of a series of experiments, they confirmed all three chemical compounds nearly same and perform similar functions. Hence, these three chemical compounds together called abscisic acid, ABA, abscisic acid. Right? Its physiological role very important for NEET object exam. Similarly, set exam, KSET exam. Abscisic acid promote seed dormancy. Seed dormancy. It also promote bud dormancy. Promote closure of stomata. Closure of stomata. Promote leaf senescence. To promote leaf senescence. It is antagonist. Antagonist to gibberellic acids. Gibberellic acids, right? It promote seed development, seed maturation, and dormancy, etc. Once you go through physiological role of abscisic acid, very important. Abscisic acid promote seed dormancy. What is seed dormancy? Resting stage of the seed. After crop harvest, seed become dry and seed minimize its metabolic activities. Even water level also decrease in dry seed. Enzyme actions, hormone actions gradually decrease in seed. Therefore, seed take rest simply up to some time extent. Such period is called seed dormancy. Abscisic acid promotes seed dormancy. Next, it promotes bud dormancy. Okay, even bud also take rest up to some time extent. When returns of favorable conditions, bud active and the part of the bud develop into various structures like tendrils, thorns, leaf or any other part of the plant, right? Next, Abscisic acid promote closure of stomata, opening and closing position of stomata, you know very well. ABA promote closure of stomata, thereby plant minimize water loss by transpiration. Yes or no? In previous chapter anatomy of flowering plants, you might have studied potassium pump theory. That was clearly explained. Opening position of stomata and closing position of stomata. Due to entry of potassium ions and chloride ions into guard cell and protons efflux from guard cell. Efflux, influx. Efflux means exit. Influx means inlet. Enter. Potassium ions, chloride ions enter into guard cell and protons exit from guard cell. Due to ion concentration increase in guard cells, water level is low. Therefore, according to osmosis principle, movement of water enter into guard cell from surrounding subsidiary cells. Due to continuous accumulation of water, guard cells bulge in size, turgid. That helps in opening position of stomata. But due to presence of ABA, abscisic acid, this total mechanism occur in reverse direction. Potassium ions, chloride ions exit from guard cell and protons influx into guard cell. Therefore, movement of water takes place from guard cell to surrounding subsidiary cells. That helps in closing position of stomata. In such a way, abscisic acid promote closing of stomata. Next, even closing of stomata also one of the benefit to the plant, particularly during summer season. In summer season, where is rain? No rain. Even underground water level also gradually decrease. In such conditions, how plant exist and adapted towards local weather conditions means by falling their leaves. That is called senescence. Leaf senescence. The same abscisic acid promote leaf senescence. Leaf senescence. What is senescence? Green color leaf turn into yellow, then dry and drop off. That is called senescence. Also called aging of leaf. Aging of leaf is termed as senescence. Mostly older leaves turn into yellow, then dry and drop off. Before drop off, macronutrients, micronutrients exported to other growing parts of the plant, then only empty leaf dry and drop off. That is called senescence. Majority of plants shed their leaf before summer season. When returns of favorable conditions, the same plant again produce large number of new leaves. That's all. Next, abscisic acid is antagonist to gibberellic acid. Antagonist means against. Means ABA function opposite to gibberellic acid function. Gibberellic acid delay senescence, but ABA promote senescence. In such a way, ABA is antagonist to gibberellic acid. Next, abscisic acid promote seed development, seed maturation and seed dormancy, etc. Understood? These are some physiological role of abscisic acid. Right? Hence, it is known as plant growth inhibitor. Indirectly, plant growth inhibitor also play a crucial role in plant growth and development. Understood? Right? Okay. Next to another important phytohormone, ethylene. Also called ethefone. Ethylene or ethefone. Right? Ethylene, a type of gaseous phytohormone. A famous scientist H. Cousins. First studied ethylene in ripened orange. Ripened oranges release a type of volatile gas that is called ethylene. Due to ethylene gas surrounding unripened fruits become ripened. Simple example, take a bunch of banana or bunch of grape or any other unripened fruit. Place at a corner. Sprinkle, that means spray ethylene gas on unripened fruits. Then close windows and door, everything. Within 1 or 2 days, unripened fruit become ripened. How? Means ethylene gas has done fruit ripening. Therefore, all unripened fruits, green color fruits, turn into ripened. Their respective color, yellow, orange, red, etc. Hence, ethylene play a crucial role in ripening of fruits. Even farmers spray ethafone. Ethafone also one of the artificial ethylene. When farmer spray ethafone on croplands, it enter into croplands, release ethylene gas into the plant. Therefore, unripened fruit become ripened within a short duration of time. In such a way, ethafone also a type of gaseous phytohormone. Ethylene, ethafone, both are same. It is artificial phytohormone, right? H. Cousins performed experiments on ripened oranges. He found ripened oranges release a type of volatile gas that is called ethylene gas. Fruit ripening, its physiological role. Ripening, ethylene promote flowering and fruiting. Pineapple, in pineapple and apple. Next, ethylene promote female flowering in cucumber, particularly in cucumber, female flower, right? Ethylene promote cell division, ethylene promote root formation, ethylene also promote initiation, of buds, leaves, fruits, etc. Right? Its main function, major function, fruit ripening. Second function, ethylene promote flowering and fruiting. It synchronize fruit set in pineapple. It enhance the enlargement of apple fruit and shape of the fruit. Therefore, apple fruit enlarge in size and it shows particular shape. Next, ethylene promote female flowering, only female flowers in cucumber. A type of monoecious plant. Monoecious means bisexual plant. Flowers are unisexual, but plant is bisexual. Because single cucumber plant produces two types of flowers, male flower, female flower. Even the location of male flower and female flower also different in plant body. Plant is bisexual. because it produces two types of flowers. But flowers are unisexual. Male flower independent, female flower independent. Here ethylene promote female flowering in cucumber. Thereby it increase crop yield. It is definitely benefit to the farmers. Yes or no? Next, one more. Ethylene initiate internode elongation. Internode or petiole. Internode or petiole elongation. In rice plant. Okay. Ethylene also promotes cell division along with the auxins and cytokinins. Ethylene also a little bit promote cell division. Ethylene also play a crucial role in root formation along with the auxins, because auxins promote root formation in cutting portions. Along with auxins, ethylene also promote root formation. Ethylene also promote initiation of buds, initiation of leaves and initiation of fruits. Ethylene also promote internode elongation or petiole elongation. What is petiole? Leaf base is called petiole. Petiole elongation in rice plant particularly, because the part of the stem submerged in plant, means basal part of the stem dipped in water. Ethylene also promote floating of leaves. Majority of aerial part of the plant float on topmost layer of water. That is called buoyancy. Buoyancy means floating. Aerial parts of the plant like main stem, sub branches, leaves, flowering, everything almost float above the level of the water. This part exposed towards sunlight. Therefore plant perform photosynthesis. Behind that, ethylene also play a crucial role. Understood now? Even the basal part of the stem also release ethylene gas. Understood? These are the several functions of ethylene. Majority of farmers purchase ethefon, a chemical compound, and directly spray on crop plants. It enter into crop plants. It release ethylene gas into the plant tissues. Therefore, after fruit formation, unripened fruits become ripened within short duration of time. That is the importance of ethefon. These are the various functions of ethylene. Very, very important gaseous phytohormone. Out of 5 phytohormones, ethylene is gaseous phytohormone. Rest of the 4 are liquid state or solid state phytohormones. Right? Like abscisic acid, ethylene also one of the plant growth inhibitor. Of course, ethylene performs dual functions. On one hand, it acts as plant growth inhibitor. On the other hand, it also acts as plant growth promoter, means plant growth regulator. Hence, it performs dual function. Right? These are general points. Try to remember all points. If it is possible, once practice on paper, fix in mind. After completion of content reading, immediately practice objective questions from this topic. Then only you are able to understand the concepts. Many points, right? It is about abscisic acid and ethylene. All 5 phytohormones completed. Next, photoperiodism. Photoperiodism. Photo means light. Period means duration. Some plants require short exposure of sunlight, and some plants require long exposure to sunlight, and some plant doesn't require sunlight. Right? Based on the availability of sunlight and requirement of sunlight, plants broadly are of three kinds. Long day plants, LDP, long day plants, SDP, short day plants, and DNP, day neutral plants. Day neutral plants, very important. Critical photo period. A simple diagram. Here critical photo period means optimum photo period. Optimum availability of sunlight is called critical photo period, right? LDP, long day plants. Next to SDP, short day plants. Next, day neutral plants. Day neutral plants. Shortly called DNP, day neutral plants. First, what is the meaning of critical photo period? That means optimum availability of sunlight is called critical photo period. Long day plants. Long day plants require long day length. When plant exposure to long day length, then only plant produce flower. Such plants are called long day plants. Long day plants also called short day length plants. Short day length plants. See, below, above. It is below. It is above. Below below critical photo period, above critical photo period. At below critical photo period, plant never produce flower, but above photo critical period, plant produce flower. That means what? Long day plants, when they were exposure to long day period, then only plant produce flowers. Such plants are called long day plants. Some examples of long day plants: chrysanthemum, okay. Next to some other examples: rice, soya bean, etc. Second category, short day plants. Short day plants require limited, means short day length. These plants produce flowers below critical photo period. Below critical photo period. When short day plants exposure to long day length plants, they won't produce flower. They would not produce flower. When this plant exposure to short day length, means below critical photoperiod, then only these plants produce flowers. Such plants are called short day plants. Short day plants also called long night plants. Long night plants, right? Some examples: potato, radish, etc. Okay. And beetroot, one more example: beetroot. Some examples. Then DNP stands for day neutral plants. Day neutral plants, they won't require sunlight. In presence of sunlight or absence of sunlight, these plants able to produce flowers, called day neutral plants. That means what? Below critical photo period and above photo critical period, plants able to produce flower. Such plants are called day neutral plants. Day neutral plants, best example: cucumber. Cucumber, pea plants, okay, etc. Two best examples. To try to remember examples: long day plants, chrysanthemum, rice, soybean; short day plants, potato, radish and beetroot; day neutral plants, example cucumber and pea plants, etc. This concept also very important for NEET object exam. My dear students, first watch a video properly and read the same topic in NCERT book, then go through objective questions. That's enough, right? Next concept, vernalization. 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 What is vernalization? The term vernalization defined as low temperature induction of flowering. Low temperature induction of flowering is termed as vernalization. Some plants require lower temperature for induction of flowering, for the production of flowering. Induction means promote. Some plants require high temperature for production of flowers, but majority of plants require low temperature for flowering. Such phenomena is known as vernalization, right? It is mostly applicable for flowering plants. Crops are of two kinds: spring season crops, winter season crops. First one, spring season crops. Spring season crops mostly complete their life cycle with the spring season only. Life cycle include several stages like seed sowing, seed germination, seedling stage, baby plant stage, young plant stage, flowering plant stage, okay, and maturation stage, fruiting stage and harvesting stage. This total all steps together called life cycle. Spring season plants complete their total life cycle within the spring season, but autumn season crops, not autumn, winter season crops, winter season crops. Winter season crops take a much longer time period for the completion of their life cycle. An example: autumn season, spring season and summer season. Plantation done in autumn season, right? Then germination, seedling stage, growth, flowering, and fruiting, etc. These all stages takes place during spring season. Next, harvest takes place almost in midsummer season, etc. Hence, winter season crops complete. It take much longer time for the completion of their life cycle. Plantation means seed sowing. What is seed sowing? A process of placing of seeds inside the soil and cover with the soil is called sowing. Sowing also called plantation. Plantation takes place during autumn season. Next, seed germination, seedling stage, growth means plant growth, flowering stage, fruiting stage. This all changes occur during spring season, and crop harvest takes place around midsummer season. So winter season crops take much longer time period than that of spring season crops. Reason important: vernalization. Low temperature induction of flowering is called vernalization. So winter season plant unable to produce flowers within a particular given time. Hence it take much longer time period for the completion of their life cycle. That's all. That is about vernalization, right? Next concept, seed dormancy. Seed dormancy. This is the last concept from this chapter. Very simple concept and small concept. Seed dormancy. Dormancy means what? Resting stage. After harvesting, seed lost its water. Then wet seed become dry. Dry seed minimize their metabolic activities. Enzyme activity, hormone activity also decrease. Embryo become inactive. Hence seed simply take rest up to some time extent. That phenomena is called seed dormancy. Seed dormancy period vary from species to species. In majority of plants, seed dormancy period is just 2 to 4 months. But in some plants, seed dormancy period extended up to 10,000 years. Best example, Lupinus articus. This plant seed dormancy period nearly about 10,000 years. One more example, date palm tree. Seed dormancy period approximately about 2,000 years. Date palm, a desert plant. Lupinus articus, one of the flowering plant and terrestrial plant. This plant seed resting stage nearly about 10,000 years. What is the reason? Means due to presence of hard seed covering. When seed coat is very hard and tough, seed unable to germinate. Then how seed become germinate? Means by artificial method, manipulation. Take one sharp knife or sandpaper, sandpaper. With the help of knife, break seed coat and carefully remove seed coat. Or take one sandpaper, gently rub on seed coat. In such a way, remove seed coat. Then seed able to germinate within short duration of time. Understood now? A process of removal of seed coat from seed is called scarification. Scarification, important. A process of removal of seed coat from seed by manipulation is called manipulation means what? Manhandling. That's all. That is called scarification. Right? Next, plants broadly are of three kinds: annual plants, biennial plants, and perennial plants. Annual plants example: pulses, cereals, and many other vegetable yielding plants, etc. Biennial plants example: beet means sugar beet, carrot, radish, cauliflower, etc. Perennial plants example: fruit yielding plants, right? Observe the difference between annual plants, biennial and perennial. Annual means 1 year. A plant which complete their life cycle within year called annual plants. Within year means not only exactly 12 months, below 12 months. Some plants may complete life cycle 3 to 4 months, some plants 5 months, some plants 7 months. So below 12 months called annual plants. Best example: pulses. Pulses example: red gram, green gram, black gram, horsey gram, Bengal gram, etc. Cereals means small size food grains such as jowar, bajra, oats, finger millets, rye, etc. And many other vegetable crops like tomato, brinjal, chili, etc. Biennial plants: a plant which complete life cycle within 2 years called biennial plants. In first year, plant develop vegetatively. In second year, plant develop sexually. In first year, root, shoot and leaf develop very well. That is called physical growth. In second year, plant parts develop sexually. Means plant produce flowers, thereby pollination, fertilization, fruit formation and harvesting, everything takes place during second year. Such plants are called biennial plants. Example: sugar beet. Sugar beet, it is white in color, conical shape. Carrot, radish and cauliflower, etc. Okay. Next, perennial plant. Perennial plant means polyannual plants, lifespan more than 2 years, 2 to many years. Example: majority of fruit yielding plants like mango, guava, pomegranate, apple, sapota, etc. Even coconut, etc. Right? And tamarind, neem tree, eucalyptus. Majority of wild plants are perennial plants, polyannual plants. Their lifespan more than 2 years, 2 to many years. Do you know one thing? One plant is there, bamboo tree, bamboo, a monocot plant, grass plant, lifespan 50 to 100 years. 50 to 100 years. But plant produce flowers only once in their lifetime. Such plants are called monocarpic plants. Very, very important. Monocarpic plants. Second one, polycarpic plants. Monocarpic plants, the best example: annual plants and biennial plants. Annual and biennial plants. very few polyannual plant also. The best example for monocarpic plant, example bamboo. The best example bamboo, monocarp plant, a grass plant. And polyannual plants, example perennial plants. Perennial plants. Understood? Monocarpic. Mono means single. Carpic means flowering. A plant which produce flower only once in their lifetime called monocarpic plants. Example annual plants, biennial plants, and very few polyannual plants also example. Polyannual plant example bamboo, because bamboo lifespan 50 to 100 years. Though it was very lengthy, but plant produce flower only once in their lifetime. That's all. Then polyannual plants, polycarpic plants produce flowers every year. Take an example: tamarind tree, neem tree, mango tree, sapota. These plants produce flowers every year during particular season in a year. Okay, hence they produce flowers every year many times throughout lifespan, called polycarpic plants. That's all. These are the main points covered from this chapter. This chapter also completed. Plant growth and development chapter also completed. When I entered this system, from that time to till today, I completed 7 chapters from first year. What is first chapter? Anatomy of flowering plants. Second chapter, biological classification. Next, all plant physiology, transport in plants, mineral nutrition, photosynthesis, respiration in plants. And the last chapter, plant growth and development. So before me, somebody, I don't know who, somebody taught rest of the chapters like living world, biological classification, plant kingdom, morphology of flowering plants. These 4 chapters completed by some other faculty before me. But when I entered the system, Anand Medical Academy system, I completed 7 chapters successfully. Right? All of you watch this video properly, understand the concept. It is a very easy concept but dry topic. Don't feel bored, and don't do neglect my suggestion. This chapter has good weightage, very good weightage for NEET object exam, because from all 5 phytohormones, question paper set up frequently asking questions, minimum 2 questions, maximum 4 questions asking from this chapter. Don't do neglect. Differentiation, dedifferentiation, redifferentiation important, and all 5 phytohormones, their scientist introduction, physiological role in plant growth and development important. Right? Next, growth rate, arithmetic growth rate, geometric growth rate, curve, graphical representation, formulas important. Understood now? Even photoperiodism, long day plants, short day plants, day neutral plants, differences, examples important. Next, vernalization, definition, spring season crops, winter season crops, their differences, how much time they require for flowering and completion of total life cycle, etc. important. Next, seed dormancy. These are the main points covered from this chapter. So this chapter has very good weightage, and don't do neglect. Thank you very much. Prepare well and have a nice day. Thank you.